How hard was doing Nolan's 14 as part of a long through hike? It was the hardest thing I've ever done. Also, one of my favorite things I've ever accomplished. It was awesome, but carrying a 40-liter pack that was probably 22 pounds at the start of that thing through that, I don't know. It's not what most people who do Nolan's 14 would do. In fact, I'd say no one who's done Nolan's 14 has ever done it that way. But I loved it. It was a great challenge. Really fun to squeeze 14 peaks into 100 miles with very little trail. Am I single? Yes, I am. How do I deal with injuries? Well, everyone is different. I've had rolled ankles where they were bad enough where I duct taped them up into kind of a brace for days on end. I have had a boulder roll over my hand and smash it, opening up a huge gash. For that, I had to wrap it, be real careful, use ointment, and prevent it from getting infected. That was a really bad one. And had an infected toe, and I was soak it in near boiling water every night to heal it up. So every injury is different. I think the most important thing to dealing with them is to prevent them getting worse or infected. The hardest section was probably the Grand Enchantment Trail. It was also one of my favorite sections. It was just really rugged. Often there wasn't a trail, and I was just kind of following the maps and the contours and kind of how the terrain was laid out. So I'd follow a canyon, I'd go up, climb up a cliffside, and reach the top of a sky island in Arizona, traverse it, and climb down another canyon, creek bed to the bottom, cross the valley floor. It was awesome. It was amazing. It was just really hard to log miles. It was one of my favorite sections. Also, the Sierras in mid-May were pretty tough and rugged, but also a great time. How much does a tiger sweatshirt cost? Well, on Amazon for $16 or $17, you can have the power of the tiger. How was it mentally knowing I wouldn't complete any of the trails on the Great Western Loop? That's a great question because it was pretty weird. Like I was within 2 miles of the terminus of the Pacific Crest Trail and the Continental Divide Trail, so I was right there, but I didn't go up to them. And it was just strange not to truly complete a single trail en route to completing a 7,000 mile route. It was something that kind of weighed on me, which is I think why I did Nolan's 14 along the way. Just have a notch in my belt to say I so far had completed something, because up until the end it was like I've hiked most of the PCT, most of the Pacific Northwest Trail, most of the CDT, most of the Grand Enchantment Trail, and most of the Arizona Trail, but hadn't completed any of them. Strange feeling. What are the important things to know before through hiking and hiking through the desert? I think it's pretty important to know how awful it is to run out of water. So that would fuel you to carry enough water and kind of know how much you need to drink. I've run out of food quite a few times, but running out of water is so much worse. Did my glasses ever break? Thankfully, no. I did lose them in a lake when I dove in, and they fell off in northern Washington on the Pacific Northwest Trail. But luckily, after like 30 minutes of searching around, I was able to find them. And my first trail I ever hiked, the Pacific Crest Trail, I hiked with contacts, but I kind of found over the years, especially doing longer miles and being a little more put together on the trail and figuring it out, that it's a lot easier to just wear glasses and not worry about the dirt and stuff that gets on your fingers and your contacts if you go that route. What is my favorite 40-ounce beer? Well, this seems like a trick question, but I will answer it. I think it has to come in a plastic bottle, and then I'll just say whatever's the strongest. How do I afford to hike so often? Well, I've pretty much given up everything else in my life, so most the money I make goes directly towards hiking. So I don't currently own a car or really have a retirement or anything, so just having one big goal and thing I want to do and putting every effort into making that happen. I prefer kind of a balance of being alone and hiking and seeing other people. So I did enjoy hitting the PCT and being with a lot of people during busy season, but it is also nice to have like long flat terrain too, to log some miles and really get in your own head. So I like a balance of busy and not busy. How many days was I on snow, and do I wish I had snowshoes? Well, I prefer to hike without snowshoes since sometimes they give me some tendonitis in my Achilles. And so I usually gut it out in trail running shoes. And I was probably on snow maybe predominantly for 20 days over a couple different periods for the Great Western Loop. What are my goals for 2019? Well, since I don't have a major sponsor or any money, let's just assume that I accomplish one of those things, and then I would hope that I get into the Barkley Marathons and finish that. Then for the rest of 2019, I'd like to set 6 of the major FKTs in the US. So these would be on 6 trails that most people have heard of, and I'd like to knock down some of these ultra runners' times and pretty accomplished people. So the initial plan would be about 5,300 miles of a record-setting year. So who knows what happens, but I think I'm crazy enough to try it, smart enough to do it, and insane enough to really enjoy it.